Amy here from Knit Collage, and today I am going to be doing part making vlog video where I share about what I've made and then part what's in store with a new pattern and kit. So I am hoping to get back into the habit of publishing here on YouTube a little more regularly, but instead of doing all the things I've made like within 1 month, I'm thinking about just breaking it up and doing one design at a time so that you can easily come on here and say, okay, I'm looking for details about the kaleidoscope sweater or the Everyday Yay or whatever, and search it a little more easily. And it'll be a little more bite-sized versus an hour-long video about the 10 things I've made or more in some cases. So we'll see how that goes. It's evolving, and it all comes down to me squeezing in all the things into a very short work day. But I'm gonna do my best, and I'm kicking that off today with the Everyday Yay Cardi, a pattern by Laurel Gervitz that I'm wearing right now. I have made 2 of these, and the pattern and the kit will be released in a week. So on Tuesday, September 3rd, we're releasing the kits and the pattern and the video course for this design. So it's a perfect time to share about my project. So when we were designing this, Laurel and I were working on this, I came to her and I said, you know what, it might have been the other way around. She said, I think we really need a simple, basic raglan sweater, top down. We don't have any. We have a ton of circular yoke patterns on the site. And it came to my attention that some people out there in the world, some knitters, do not like circular yoke sweaters. This is a thing. Jake Kenyon of Ken Yarn, or it used to be Ken Yarn, said this to me, I don't know, must have been a year or 2 ago. He said, they just don't work for me. Circular yokes don't work for me. I only do raglan or drop shoulder, things like that. So we had this idea. We want to make a raglan sweater, and this is how this design came to be. It is top down. It's a very simple cardi shape. It's easy. There is like just the perfect amount of ease. It's not too loose and it's not too tight. And it's a very beginner friendly pattern. The way that Laurel wrote the pattern is ingenious. It's broken down very simply and visually by size, so you know exactly what you're supposed to do as you move along through it. It's very unique and very fun to make this pattern. So we have, it's top down, so you knit the style from top to bottom, and then you add on the rib along the neckline. And then of course, if you want to add buttons or a snap, you add that on later too. So it's really simple. I knit mine in a week. That's fast. It might take you longer, but it is a size 17 needle, so it does whip up really, really quickly. And then of course there's the option to add the embroidery. So when we release the kits, you'll have 2 options. You can get the solid style with no embroidery, or you could get the kit that comes with the yarn to embroider the sweater yourself. So I'm going to include some pictures here of both the solid sweater, which I love. It's in that bright bubblegum pink color in Spun Cloud, and then some photos of the Everyday Yay with all the embroidery. And I'm going to show the pictures of the one that I knit during the last knit along. I think it was last fall or last spring, I can't remember. And I sold this design, so I no longer have it to show you. I sold the sample, so I have to show it to you with these pictures. I love it. It's really bright colors for the embroidery thread, and it's just absolutely beautiful. But this one is the first one that I made, and I love this one too. This is it's got a more neutral vibe. It's not as bright. And you can see the embroidery is done in cross stitch, and it has, it's all about flowers and cross stitch. So within the pattern, you get the instructions on how to do exactly this design if you want to do exactly this design and make exactly what I have on mine for yourself. However, the idea behind the embroidery is to really use it as a jumping off point for you to get creatively free and make this your own entirely. So in the sweater I showed you just now, the one that I sold off, and I can't believe I did that, I actually added some crochet edging along different parts of the sleeve cuff and the neckline, and I really love the way that looked. So you can really get wild and free with this. The cross stitch the whole idea for the cross stitch was inspired by I think it might have been a quilt or some type of embroidery I saw, and it was done on a much smaller scale with tiny yarn. And I thought that would be so cool to try that with our yarn on a larger scale. And that's sort of how this came to be. So Laurel, when she finished making the first sample, she gave me the sweater and then I embroidered on it. So it was kind of a collaboration between the two of us. So yeah, so that's this sweater, and I showed you the one in the photos with the more bright colors for the embroidery. So it was really, really fun to knit. And for me, having a sweater that is just simple and easy to knit like this, that you don't have to put too much energy into, or if you're a beginner, you're setting yourself up for success because it's very simple, easy pattern, is just the kind of knitting that I can do at nighttime after the kids go to sleep. I don't have to put too much thought and energy into it. It's the best. I think we all need that in our lives sometimes. And sometimes we need the really challenging things, but sometimes we need the more beginner-friendly basic things also. So this design was wonderful from that perspective, and then scratch that creative itch by letting me dive into the embroidery and the cross stitch and have fun with all of that. So I love it. I'm super into it. I love it with overalls. I pretty much always wear this design with overalls, but of course, it doesn't have to be that way. I love it. Oh, I love the idea of throwing this over like a plaid dress, like something really fall feeling, like a slinky plaid print dress or flowy skirt. I love the idea of that. But really you could wear this in all sorts of ways. So let me show you the yarn that this pattern uses. So if you decide to go with the solid option, it's just the Spun Cloud yarn. This is our wool yarn that is plied with 2 strands of skinny lurex, 1 silver, 1 gold, and that gives it that really fun, bumpy, slubby texture. It's very soft. We knit it on a big needle, so it's not too dense and thick, and it's a really fun one. So that's that. The embroidery is our wildflower yarn, which is screen printed in Jaipur, and it's all done by hand, and then it's sent up to our team in Punjab, who then laser cuts the strips, ties them into knots, and then voila, it's yarn. So you can see all of these prints are what you get. And then this is a mini skein sampler kit, or a wildflower mini skein sampler kit, where you get 5 different colors in one. Because when we do the embroidery, we want you to have the opportunity to really play with all the colors here and have fun and experiment. And you could totally do it in one color and that would look cool too. But my inclination is always to give you more color options, because that gives you a little more creative freedom to play and have fun with it. So those are the wildflower mini kits. We have tons of color options for both of them. In our curated kits, I believe we have around 10 to 15 different color combinations that we've worked up and put together for all of you. And then in the solid version, it's our Spun Cloud yarn colors. So really fun. Now, the one thing I didn't talk about is when you order a kit, you also get the video course on how to knit this design from start to finish. So this is fantastic if you are a beginner knitter, if you're wondering, how did she do that embroidery? I go through it all in this video course. I can't remember exactly how many videos it is, but it's a lot. They always are around 20 to 50 per class, depending on the style. This one is probably more like 20 or 30, but I break them down into tiny bite-sized chunks. So if that number overwhelms you, don't let it. I try and make them very short and actionable so that you don't have to go through this really long video to get to the point that you need to in the pattern to show you, what you need to do. So it's very simple and actionable. You can use this and it's yours forever to, if you knit it right now and then forget how to knit this in a year, you can go back to it and watch that later. So that is an amazing tool to have in your back pocket. If you're thinking about doing your first sweater, this is a wonderful beginner-friendly first sweater option to try out. I love it, and it does make me think of Everyday Yay. I put it on and I think yay, which is a little ridiculous, but I do. It makes me very happy and brings me a lot of joy. So that's the Everyday Yay. These are the 2 samples that I've knit since I've been on here to show you anything in my making vlogs. I hope to be back here with another one soon. And like I mentioned, these kits go up on Tuesday, September, I believe it is the 3rd. And that's going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern time. I'll put that all in the caption just to be crystal clear. All right. Thank you so much. I can't wait to bring this beautiful pattern out into the world.